Welcome back to Life Lanes, the Brotherly Guide. We are your hosts, Justin and Don Mazza. Our guest today is none other than the lovely Caroline Duxta. Caroline is a new friend I've made while living in Burlington, but in the short time I've known her, I can already tell what an amazing and wonderful person she is. Caroline is currently in medical school at the University of Vermont, where she is studying to be an ophthalmologist. We break down the different subspecialties and how to pick one, and also dig into the weeds about insurance companies. In addition to medical school, she's an active member of the United States Army, and she'll be telling us how those two lives intersect. So without further ado, here's our weekly guest, Caroline Duxta. All right, Caroline, how's it going?
Good. The countdown made it feel like it was like, Happy New Year.
Right, we should, Dean was giving us some musical features in our earlier episodes, but he's been lacking on the special features recently. Yeah. That's
I want
great.
more
That's
rap
great.
horn.
I don't do. Oh yeah, I have a horn.
Yes.
Reminds me of like Jersey Shore or something with that horn.
God, I love a rap
Well,
horn.
Caroline, thanks for being on the podcast. We
Thank you
really
guys for
appreciate it.
having me. Oh my gosh.
Have you done a podcast before?
I've never done a podcast. I've actually been talking about how I wanted to start a podcast for years, and I've just never really done it. So I really admire you guys, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're kind of pioneers. What would your podcast be about?
Oh God, it would have to be like Girl Talk or something. I think I would call it like the older sister that you never wanted, and but that's like really clunky for a title.
Yeah, it's a good work in progress, though, for sure.
Yeah, we write to edit. Yeah.
I like the idea of that. I wanted to originally make this shower thoughts, just because we were like, oh, like you have like these crazy ideas in the shower, but that was already taken, and I was like, damn, that was a great idea for a podcast. Well, that's great. Are you excited? You nervous to be on here?
A little nervous, but definitely really excited. I love talking. I could talk wallpaper off a wall, so I'm here for it.
Wonderful. Well, Justin and I are both Italian, so we come from big talking families where you have to yell at the person sitting right next to you at a dinner table, but that's what makes it really nice.
Yeah, my mom claims that she's Italian, and I saw her last time and I was like, I dare you to get like a 23andMe, because like I call bullshit. Sorry, I don't know if you can swear. My bad.
No, you can curse. We don't talk about pot on the show. I don't know why that's a thing, but we just don't talk about pot. We try to keep it PG as much as possible, but yeah, I did the 23andMe, but apparently I only did the genetic portion where I got my genome sequenced, which is less useful than finding out my ancestry. I thought it came as a package. Because we're supposed to be like 50 Italian, and then a couple of I was always taught 40 Russian. I don't know how accurate that is. We got some Lithuanian in us, really just Russian Jews.
Eastern Europe, yeah.
Yeah, Eastern Europe. You could tell by the eyebrows. Well, who is that? Is that me?
This is us. I was sent some old pictures. I don't know how good Lindsay's camera is here, but here's us with Santa. Speaking of Harry, look, here's a nice old the famous karate picture.
That's a good one. That like blue like whatever felt. Yeah, that everybody would take pictures of.
I have to show you guys this. My uncle just developed some really old film.
Yeah, that's
this is my brother and I.
How much older is he?
He's like 7 years older than me. Sorry.
That's a great pick.
Work, but I have bangs. They're adorable. Like, come on now.
Did you I assume you took like class pictures, when you were in elementary school?
Unfortunately, yes.
Did you guys like go somewhere for like professional pictures, or I remember we all went to like Macy's. That was like the thing.
No, they did like the school pictures at school, and then senior year you went to like the fancy place and did your whole photo shoot, which those were fire for me, but
fancy.
Yeah.
Didn't a photographer, I don't know if it was me or you, told us not to smile or something, or told us smile less? Am I remembering this right? Something about like
it's kind of fucked up.
I don't know what it was. I think because when we smiled as kids, I think I have a picture of it. You couldn't see our eyes. We would,
Yeah, we were big squinters. We're still squinters, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, this is I don't know if my eyes are so squinted in this picture. You just look like a savage in this.
Watch it.
Savage. Yeah.
I had a whole box of old pictures that I brought up here, and then I just brought them home. But they're good to hang on to, right? All these pictures.
I just think it's crazy that like this is a thing, right? Tangible pictures from our parents, and I think we have like 6 tangible pictures, and Dom, probably half of them are from you printing them out and putting them in a picture frame, and like. We're just not going to have, everything's just digital, like as we just continue. But Polaroids are in again. It's like the old school way.
Polaroids are hot. They are hot. I fucking love Polaroids.
Everyone does, yeah.
And they always come out like amazing. It's like just one picture, and then you get it.
Get one shot.
Give it the old shake, and you're like, "Damn, that is nice." Like, well, let's jump into it. We warmed up a little bit. The oven's been preheating for a while. Let's just throw this turkey in. So, Caroline, I met you, I don't know, maybe like 3 months ago. I don't even know. Maybe it was longer than that. I have no idea.
Like over the summer?
Maybe over the summer, sporadically. I know you came to a game.
I think I started coming here, it was autumn. It was in the fall. I started coming to Edwin's games.
Autumn. I've never really called it autumn.
Yeah, wow, me and Dom both heard that weird.
Autumn sounds, it sounds so much more regal. I like it, actually. Autumn.
Caroline, do you say supper? Or you say dinner?
I say dinner, yeah. Or food.
You're still cool.
Or just food. That's not bullshit. Let's get straight to the point. Well, Caroline, I met you because I play soccer with Edwin, who you live with, and I know he's lurking around there somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you guys moved into the apartments right next door, which makes it really easy.
See you from my window, yeah.
That's nice.
You're one of those people who live in the complex? That's awesome.
Yeah. They're like the next building over. It's great.
Well, hopefully we see you this weekend.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. We're probably gonna go to BBCO on Saturday. Are you a big BBCO fan?
I love BBCO. Their new location is fantastic, and like
the one
the food is good
on Pine Street or whatever. Yeah.
They had an old location. It was like in South Burlington, almost like. Do you know where Goodwater is? Like near, like kind of where the Walmart is, but like behind it, kind of like in that weird like road. It's like Walmart? Somewhere in like in almost Williston? Near Williston. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like in this weird like no man's land. It was like a garage basically, and now they have this huge location. It's awesome.
Yeah, so nice. I love it there. Yeah, Caroline Justin is a longtime Burlington. I don't know if you're townie status, but you're getting there. You've paid your dues, but I think for a good reason. You're not just lurking around there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, me and Edwin played pool, whatever, like 2 weeks ago. And
oh my God, I heard this story.
Did you hear about this freaking girl?
I haven't heard this. Please tell.
Yeah, she had her 10 boyfriends there.
Yeah, this girl was like the classic example of white trash, and the board is there where you write your name of who's playing next, right?
Yeah.
For pool. And it got like all scrambled and it wasn't really like clear. So like one half of the board was like all erased. And then the other half of the board, it was like Ben, who was one of the guys that we were with as well, and then me. Right? So me and Ben are about to play this girl who's been winning, and her partner. And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to play." So I was like, "All right." So then we bring on 2 more of our friends, and then this white trash girl just comes out of nowhere. She's like, "Whoa! I'm up next. Who's playing? I'm up next." And we're just like, "Well, we didn't see any names, so we just went to the top of the list." She's like, "No, there's my name," and she's just pointing to like a blank space on the board. She's like, "There's my name right there." And we were just like, "Okay, whatever. Do you want to play?"
Yeah,
you can play. She's like, "Yes." Yeah, she was a hua.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We wound up losing to her, but she played with this dude who was really good. It was a good game though. I think it was me
I
and
heard
Edwin
she wasn't
actually.
even present for like half of
Yeah,
the
she wasn't.
game. She
Yeah,
was out
she
making
wasn't.
out with her other boyfriends while her other boyfriend was playing her pool for her.
That's just what she
More
rolled with.
power to
But
her. More power
more
to
power
her.
to her. Yeah, wasn't very friendly, but
So wait,
yeah,
Caroline.
she's definitely a townie right there.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what we call
maybe my
townie.
question. Maybe I'm jumping ahead, Dom, but like, what brought you to Burlington to begin with?
Yes. I came here in 2015 for undergrad. I studied neuroscience at UVM, and then I never left.
Wow, 2015.
And here you are, a
You're
decade
there.
later.
I think that's 9-10 years. Come on.
Yeah, it's been a decade. Like, when I leave, I'll have spent 11 years here, like all of my adult life in Burlington. I lived in Waterbury for a little while, like a year and a half, and but other than that, Burlington, South Burlington.
Where are you from originally?
Rhode Island.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Rhode Island.
Yeah. So New England girl, but there are worse places to be for a decade, for sure. I was almost like I should really knock on some wood saying this. Like I was almost a little bummed to be here for 4 more years when I found out I was staying, because I was like, man, I was really excited to go somewhere else, like learn a new place. I was going to be in Biddeford, Maine, which is near Portland. But then I got in at UVM, and I was like, when you get in at UVM, you stay at UVM. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're already here. You already kind of established your
Exactly.
roots.
It's really valuable. I was actually just meeting with a gal today about like med school stuff, and she wants to go to LCOM, and I was like, yeah, it's nice to have like your roots established already.
Yeah. Was it the fembot?
No, she already has herself figured out. Oh my god.
We went to a Halloween party at their place, and someone went as a fembot. This is such a great costume.
But Dom goes, sexy Elsa?
Wait,
Yeah, I thought she was the girl from Frozen.
What's a fembot?
Like from
Female
Austin
robot?
Powers.
Yeah, from Austin Powers.
Oh, with the boob guns.
Yeah,
and
with
all
the
that?
boobs, with the boob
Oh,
guns. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was one of the characters from
Elsa.
Frozen, and I think she might have took it a little offensively.
No, she's fine. She's
All right.
fine.
Good. Well, you did your 4 years at UVM, and now you're in med school. What specialty are you doing?
So right now, just kind of going through like the learning part. I'm hoping to match into ophthalmology someday, though. When that day comes, I'm really in love with the eyes. I spent 3 years like after undergrad working in ophthalmology, and I just love making people see good.
Wow, it's really poetic.
Carol, I have a weird question because Dom never like truly specialized. My dad never specialized, and I'm like always curious when I meet a podiatrist or an ophthalmologist, like what made you choose a specialty, if anything, and then why eyes? Yeah, maybe you just love people's eyes, but
Yeah, super random how I got into ophthalmology. I just wanted experience and they were hiring, right? Like it wasn't like I always knew I wanted to help people see well, but once I got into it, I was like, wow, this organ is super complex and like really interesting. And I really took my vision for granted until I started working there, and I was like, when it's like debilitating, literally, when you can't see well. So that's something that I really enjoyed about it. But I've done some like shadowing in urgent care, a lot of it. And man, I love it too. So like primary care is so tempting because it's like, I love a whodunit. Like I love when someone comes in, they're like shortness of breath, and you're like, you got to figure out what's going on, and that's really fun. And I think ophthalmology has a lot of that too. Like you're basically a primary care doctor for the eye, which is fun. So you see people long term for things. You also get to do like acute care. You get to do some surgery. It's just a really good blend, and that's why I really love it.
Yeah, that is a good way to phrase it. It's a good blend, right? You have these follow-up appointments, but then you do get to get your hands dirty a little bit and do some procedures.
Yeah.
We had or not our grandma, but our cousin's grandma. She went in for cataract surgery, I believe, and one of the instruments had Pseudomonas on it. and she wound up losing her eye.
Oh my god, that's devastating.
We break it down for all the dumb people in the room. What is that?
It's
She
just
had
a
a
bacteria, but it was on the instrument, so on the
And,
tool.
Clean the instrument?
They're
Yeah, it
supposed
wasn't
to go through the autoclave
sterilized.
and get sterilized, yeah, but something must have happened. Oh,
Well, there was another person also getting a same procedure, and they also got pseudomonas and lost their eye, and the hospital got sued out the wazoo. I know she made a boatload of money, but
oh, that's how she made money. Nice.
Yeah, and that's how
so
she lost her eye. I never knew why she like would wear an eye patch, or you know, one of her she would wear glasses, and one of them was always foggy, and I was like, why is it always foggy?
Gotcha.
But I don't know, you know, if you're like 75, like, would you trade an eye for like, you know, $300,000?
No, it'd have to be more than $300,000. It would be like have to be like $1 million.
What do you need 2 eyes for? I feel like you would acclimate.
I don't know, depth perception?
No, but
what is she doing? Is she playing darts?
Driving.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it also depends which eye, right? So like if it's my left eye, I'm screwed. Like I'm not going to see any peripheral like cars coming by. Like yeah, anyways.
Yeah, leave it to the future ophthalmologist to actually have these good salient points to bring up. Any other fields that you're looking into?
Pathologists seem really happy, so I would consider pathology.
They seem really happy.
Yeah, they're like some of the happiest doctors I've met. I think cardio is so fascinating. I love the way the heart works, but I couldn't like dedicate my career to that. And you know, like I'm really good at learning about pulmonology, but again, similar with cardiology, I don't think that I would want to like dedicate my life to the lungs. Ophtho has my heart, you know, like I have like done like my due diligence to like broaden my horizons, but still it's just like nothing makes me as excited.
Yeah. That's cool that you have you know, an area that you want to focus on. I think I told you the story when I went to the ophthalmologist and walked out with my chart. Did I ever tell you?
Yeah.
So Justin, you know, you ever been to the eye doctor?
Yeah, once or twice. I mean, I got 2015 vision supposedly, so.
Ooh.
No LASIK?
No, but they just tell me I have better than perfect vision. So
just the way you came. That's awesome.
Our Snellen chart, which is like the chart, right? The Snellen chart's the big one. Yeah. So Justin, our Snellen chart is like what, you know, you read, right, for like 20/20 vision, whatever. Yeah. Exactly. Ours, it's not like letters. It's either 3, E, M, or W. So it's just like this.
Oh well, yeah. That's because it's like a diversity thing. So like if you have someone who doesn't speak English, you just tell them like, tell me which way it's facing.
You know, that was my, nobody explained it to me, but that was my thought. I was like, this is probably for people whose English isn't their first language.
Yeah.
But
yeah, or like kids, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, you know, you go to the eye doctor and you get your eyes dilated, right?
Yeah.
And you can't see shit. So I always thought that you're supposed to have someone drive you home. And they were like, no, it's fine. You can just drive home. So I go there, I get my eyes dilated. You wait, whatever, like 15, 20 minutes, and then you leave. But they gave me this manila folder, and I thought it was just like my after visit summary or whatever. But I was supposed to take that to the front desk when I checked out. So I didn't even look at it. And I mean, I couldn't really see anyway. So I just walked out with it. And then I got home and I finally looked at the folder and I saw it was like my chart. And I was like, oh shit. So then
did you read it?
You remember Jerry DeVersa? Remember that guy?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we just had to call him and explain it. I don't know how he got my folder
friend of the
back,
family.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He was like a mob boss, he looked like. Just like that slick back hair. How you doing?
Yeah.
He was good though.
So like growing up with a doctor as a dad, we seem to have like family friends. We just saw like my dad's kind of like family friend. Everyone just knew someone. Like, oh, I got a good, you know, cardiologist, and they'll just recommend that. And
in the biz.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we are now. Where actually, like one of my best friends, his mom is our PCP, and she's our PCP for 10 different like Mazas, and just go to her for everything. She just refers out, and it's just like this big network, which is pretty interesting. That's how I feel. Like, is that how it is for you guys? Like, do you guys creating like a doctor network, or is that with these big organizations, or is that?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, sorry.
I think like I'm not really there yet, so this might be a better question for Dom. But like I don't know, with the big like conglomerates, like UVM Medical Center is like a huge monster that like has taken over all of Vermont and some of New York and New Hampshire too. What do you think, Dom?
I mean, I definitely have my friends that I refer people to, like especially like chiropractors and PTs and stuff like that. And like I don't even know what kind of work they do, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just trying to give them business, hopefully they return the favor. I assume they're fine, I don't hear anybody be like, "Oh, that person sucks." But like at my gym, there's a chiropractor that I'm friendly with, so we send each other patients back and forth. As far as like specialists go, I mean, I'm not like on close terms with them. And also there's not like a huge surplus of specialists in the state of Vermont. Like there's, only so many, neurologists. So you don't really have that much to choose from. I mean, I have like ones that I prefer to deal with just because some of them are assholes. Not really neurologists, just like, specialists in general. Like I love this guy at Vermont Gastro, David Schwartz. I don't know why. It's probably
he has such a good reputation.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I spoke to him on the phone, and he was just like, "Your charts are great." And I was like, "Oh my god, thank you."
You're like, stop it! I'm blushing.
I was super blushing, and now every time someone's like, "Do you have a gastro you recommend?" I was like, "I gotta go to Schwartz. He's the man."
He knows what he's doing. He's buttering you up.
Exactly. That's fine though. He told me that. He's like, if you want to order a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, just order them together because the patient will save money. And I was like, oh, that's very nice of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty new in my field too. So I think as I just grow more and more comfortable in the area, I'll start to continue to develop that relationship, especially with, if it's like with cardiologists and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not really sending that many patients to it, but more of like physical therapists, like acupuncturists, chiropractors, those I'm sending like a large, portion of people to. So good to develop those relationships.
Dom, do you think like in the large conglomerates, and just think about this from a business perspective, like if you go to your PCP and they refer you out to someone in the larger network, they get a referral fee or some sort of kickback, which is why they're referring? No, you can't do that? Okay. Both are shaking your head.
I mean, I don't know if you can.
Pretty frowned upon if they do.
So they're just doing it just to keep it in this system, like,
it's just like Epic, like Epic charts, like it's easier to refer with a network of like your like UVM, but no, like I think it's actually against the law to like have any type of referral incentives, but like at the holidays you eat your little holiday basket and like your box of chocolates at like Valentine's Day or whatever, like I think it's like stuff like that, but I don't think there's any like financial like percentage cut of like a referral.
That makes sense.
There's co-management though. Sorry, not to get too nerdy, but like you can co-manage a patient where like you can divide up like percentages of like post-op fees. If it was like, for example, a cataract patient, like they're 2 hours away from their surgeon and like instead of coming for their post-op 1 week and post-op 1 month, like for the 2-hour drive, they could see their local optometrist and like they could split the fee for that and the optometrist would get like a portion. But that's totally different because it's like co-management.
Makes sense.
That's pretty interesting.
All outside of my realm, so that's helpful.
Caroline, do you have any experience with the Da Vinci tools?
No, but Edwin, like, I mean, he doesn't use them, but he's like the doctors at his practice use it all the time.
Oh yeah, we should preface that Edwin works at a gynecology clinic. And
he's a head bitch in charge.
And Justin, do you know what the Da Vinci machine is? It's like robotic assisted surgery, right?
Oh, it's a major company. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a brand or like a device or something.
No,
I don't really know the logistics behind it.
Maybe 2 companies have been following this a little bit in the public markets that are becoming very popular for robotic assisted surgeries, and they've kind of taken off since COVID. I don't know like what the surgeries are, but I mean, like that's pretty insane to think about.
Yeah, it's kind of a game changer because, you can have like the best cardiothoracic surgeon who maybe lives in Korea, operate on you.
Oh, it can be like remote?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it could be like that. That's the kind of like the thought behind it is to bring it to like remote places and stuff
It's
like
not
that.
like an AI generated. It's more of a remote field.
Blow that up, Dean. What are we looking at?
That's so cool.
This doesn't say anything about what you're saying, Dom. It says more of a assistant, but
so
I don't know where I heard that. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke out my ass, but I assume that's where the trend is going.
It's going for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, one doctor could take over the whole world doing like Da Vinci all day in like a million different countries. That's wild.
Yeah, you just don't even have to leave your home. Brings a whole new.
Pause. Your surgeon is with you in the operating room. See at the Da Vinci system console. The console gives your surgeon control of the instruments he or she uses to perform your surgery. Don, I just want to call you out on fake news. So,
we'll come back to this conversation in 10 years, and you're gonna be like, "Damn, dude, can you see the future?"
I'm a pioneer.
10 years from now,
Passive income.
Passive income, indeed. Well, let's stop the nerding out about all this stuff, and we can go into it more. I think Justin maybe wanted to ask you an insurance question. Is that it?
Oh, yeah.
I just think insurance is a bunch of like bullshit.
Oh my god, I hate insurance. It's the worst thing ever.
Isn't it amazing that both the patient and the provider both hate the same thing that we're all so reliant on in this country? I'm not bringing the politics into it, but so I brought my fiance in for blood work this morning. She had blood work scripted from her PCP and a new allergist, different networks, which is kind of why my network conversation was before. We went in, we look at the script. One had the wrong insurance, one had the right insurance, because we had to go through this whole process because her insurance, she was on, is it Medicaid, right? That's Obamacare.
Mm-hmm.
She was
Medicaid
on Medicaid.
Is like, yeah.
Not Obamacare, but that's the state
Medicare is when you're over 65.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not over 65.
Right, so she's Medicaid then, yeah.
Okay, thank God. All right, so she had Medicaid, and then now she went through a triggering a life event, it's called. So we had to submit for approval, so she became a domestic partner of mine. Thank you. Because she's not my wife yet. So we had to go through all this like paperwork to get her finally on. She reset my deductible. Not happy about that. But so we had one insurance on one insurance to the other. There was a lot of confusion. She also doesn't like getting blood work drawn, so that was a whole thing on its own.
Who likes it?
I used to be a little bit more squeamish. Now I'm like better at seeing blood leave my body. I think that's like the whole concept once you realize you're just a sack of potatoes filled with fluid. But this whole thing happens, and I'm just like constantly thinking about the BS, because then we called the provider who put the information in. He goes, "I'm seeing one thing on my side. You're saying I have a different one." So we don't know if he's not admitting to his mistake or if he's actually telling the truth and there's something in, and it's just like, it's amazing that this is all contingent on, like, she just wants to get simple blood drawn, and it's so much of a complication. And I'm sure other people, because of the frustration, then don't follow up with, their health or,
for sure.
Like for me, I was talking to her about this too. Again, we come from medical family. So, when someone's like, "You should get an x-ray," we're like, "No, we shouldn't," because we know if it's broken or not. Like, we can kind of tell. And even if you can, you put a splint on it, call it a day. But they would, they charge whatever, $700 out of pocket for an x-ray until you meet your deductible. And it's just amazing how, like, you're so responsible for so much cost so quickly. And if you don't use it, it's it's amazing to me. Like, it's such a frustrating process.
Yeah, I think people have been like lost to follow up for a lot less, than just than an insurance thing. And yeah, it's just frustrating. My cynical side has a theory that since this situation was like 2 networks, they're just like, oh, like, let's just like make it complicated for them just because they're not like our friend. They're not like, we're not going to scratch their back. That happens around here sometimes. I don't want to name any names, but like, there's one big hospital that tends to make the little guys in town's life difficult.
I remember listening about that on a podcast where he was saying that, and this guy worked for a pharmaceutical company for like a decade or something, but he was saying that, most people get their insurance through their jobs, right? And he was saying the average American changes jobs every 2.5 years. So so when they're changing their job, they're going to change their insurance plan. So every insurance plan is just trying to kick the expenses to that next insurance plan. So that's why they're denying prior auths, they're denying whatever medications, whatever like that, because they're like, we don't want to pay. They're probably not going to be in our plan in another year. Let the next guy deal with it.
But you've been paying $2,000 a month for your coverage, so it's like,
I know, and you're paying these premiums, and you're just like, what the fuck am I paying for? Really, you're just paying to not go bankrupt if you needed to go to the hospital.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. In case you're in an emergency, there's something to cover you. How much
you get fined if you don't have insurance as well? Isn't there a fine on your taxes if you don't have insurance?
New York, we found that out. She could have. She actually.
I thought that was the case with Obama.
Well, she at least didn't have insurance while we were figuring this out. And it was just the fact that there was all this frustration about what's a life qualifying event in order to get her onto my insurance. Mm-hmm. And moving in is one, but you have to do it 30 days after. We've been living together for years. But we found out if your insurance expires, most other insurance providers will accept that as a life altering event, and you can change mid-year. That was the issue, was that she was going to be uninsured for a few months, which I'm so risk adverse. I'm like, how is that possible? And then talking to some people, I'm like, well, that's pretty popular, pretty crazy.
That's why I like to do cash pay things with my patients, where I use this company called Life Extension, which you can just order a lab kit, and it's like you're just going on Amazon and shopping for whatever labs you want. And even the most comprehensive lab kit that has every test that I would ever want is about $300, which is, way cheaper than going through insurance. And then they just bring it in, we draw it, and then they get their results mailed to them 3 weeks later.
Is that, Dom, is that similar to, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Mark Cuban's initiative on tackling insurance?
Mark Cuban's company that I'm aware of is a medication company, where it's similar to one that we use called GoodRx, which is for instance, we prescribe a lot of Cialis at my clinic, and Cialis is $1,000 a month, so we can get a GoodRx coupon that will knock it down to $30 a month. What? And Mark Cuban has a similar company that does the same thing. I don't know how he gets the medication so cheap, but we've discussed using his company before, especially because steroid inhalers, which are a common medication and a daily medication, could be $200 a month. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's a life-saving medication too.
Exactly, yeah. It's a life-saving medication. It's not that expensive, and it's not this crazy new agent.
Right, there's generics of everything now at this point. There must be.
Yeah, even the generics though are still $170, $200.
Lindsay went in the other day. It was $200 for 2 medications.
No,
you're an
hour. No, it needs to stop. It's out of control.
Out of control. I agree. I found this place that does cash pay imaging now too. It's over in Plattsburgh though, unfortunately. But you can get X-rays for $75.
Oh, period.
Which is amazing if you don't have insurance or whatever, or if you just don't, if you have a $10,000 deductible and you're like, I'm never going to use this, I'm just going to take a trip. You can get X-rays, CTs, echoes, DEXAs, calcium scores. You can get a lot there. It's great.
Wow, that's fantastic. Good to know for next time Edwin has a Jones fracture.
Yeah.
One more thing just on insurance, because I'm Kyle, you don't know me too well, but I love the business side of things, right? It's just kind of my nature. And when it comes to insurance, I made sure to pick the plan that had an HSA side of it. And it's the best, that is the craziest tax advantage that people don't talk about enough. How it's pre-tax, post-tax, and you can use it whenever you want. I can reimburse, I can take expenses now, and then in 30 years from now, go to my HSA and declare it, or however I want to treat it. And it's pretty impressive, how that is. So it's something I talked, a lot of my my colleagues that I mentor, in my, are turning, they're at that age where they get off their parents' insurance, and then they're going to be onto ours. And we were just talking about this last week about just the power of an HSA and how amazing that can be.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that it kicks ass. So I should probably consider getting one. I just like to think that I'm pretty healthy.
Yeah, that's the plan, right? So
yeah,
that's the plan. Until you're not, though.
I know.
That's it. Just doomsday preppers. Did you guys ever watch
Last
that
year?
show?
Oh no, definitely not.
Yeah, me neither.
I love that stuff. Post-apocalyptic.
Caroline, what were you saying? I just cut you off.
Oh, I truly don't remember, but it's all good. I was too interested in thinking about Naked and Afraid instead of Doomsday Preppers, though. Great show.
My favorite show.
God,
nice.
you're really into that show.
That's also a good
you just
one. I've only seen
people
a
at their lowest, Justin. They're most vulnerable.
Tough.
Yeah. But they're like actually survivalists, these people. Like when I first was introduced to that show, I thought it was just like Beverly Hills people just like getting dropped off in Tanzania. But
That's
it's
what
like,
I thought it was too, Dom.
No, it's like actual like people that know how to do shit.
See, that's cool. That's like I follow a guy on TikTok like that he just randomly treks Alaska and builds fires and snow forts and
so badass.
Like, pretty impressive.
If you were on Naked and Afraid, what would be the one area of the world you guys would not want to be in?
Like, we're talking, like, obviously Antarctica, right? Like,
because you're naked.
Right. Let's talk about
like continental U.S. or like.
Yeah, be more specific, Dom.
How about in between? I'm gonna pull up a map of the world.
Yeah, I'm also geographically challenged, so.
Oh, should hang out with Dom.
I'll pull up the map of the world.
Come over this weekend. We nerd out on maps.
Oh, perfect. Let's do like a map puzzle or something.
I have a huge map in my room that
Don't
is very
with a good
detailed.
time.
All right, so let's say like the furthest you can go is like the tip of Brazil or like Australia. Okay, that's the furthest south you can go.
Okay.
And then the furthest north you can go is Alaska.
That's a pretty big wide range.
Probably like Russia, right? Like that's pretty remote and cold and.
Would you rather be in the cold? I was thinking more like tropical. Like
I want to be tropical. Get my tan on.
Those fucking bugs, though.
Yeah,
those bugs, though.
The animals, the heat.
You just get like I remember any episode I would watch, people are just getting munched on by bugs the whole time.
Nightmare.
Yeah, I would say Amazon probably.
You would want to be in the. You wouldn't want to be.
That would suck too. You know, when I was in Thailand, I slept at this like rural farm, and I had this dream that bugs were crawling on me, and I was sleeping. There was like a bug net around me, and I wake up and there's just like ants all over me, and there's a huge hole in my net.
I'm out. I'm on the next plane out of there.
I guess it was fine that it was like ants. Also, I was sleeping at a hostel in Mexico and just woke up with this welt, like probably the size of like the iPod case, just like on my head, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Big ass.
It's an AirPod case. It's not an iPod case. Just want to point that out.
Thanks for keeping it real. Sorry, guys. I just have to grab my charger.
But you making cookies in there?
Yeah, where you go?
I honestly,
looks like
I made bagels over the weekend.
Bagels.
Fire. Yeah.
What do you know about good bagels? You Rhode Island girl.
You guys know.
We know good bagels. Well, we can nerd about insurance, as long as we want.
Till the cows come home, really.
Till the cows come home. Is that really the saying? Till the cows? I thought it was till the crows something.
Nope. She's right.
I'm always right.
Cows don't come home till late.
Till the cows come home. Well, we'll transition. So, Caroline, one of the more interesting things that I learned about you was that you were in the United States Army. Is that correct?
It is an interesting thing about me. You wouldn't think it, but
no, you wouldn't.
So I am technically in the Army right now. And I listened to your podcast where you kind of chatted about it. So I was not in the Army before med school. But I signed my contract the last week of like orientation. So basically I'm in this program called HPSP, and it's a situation where you get a scholarship, you get a stipend, your school's paid for, you get a stipend to live off of. And then, you have like some obligations. Last summer, I went to a 6-week training. I was in Oklahoma for 3 weeks, and then I was in San Antonio, Texas for 3 weeks, and it's called like basic officer leadership training. It's not basic, and I like want to emphasize that because like enlisted people actually do basic, and it's really, really hard. Like I would see them getting smoked all the time, and like we didn't have that because we're officers. We're all graduated from like college already, and we're all like the people I was with were either vets, med students, or dentists.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so school's paid for, and then once I'm done with residency, I will owe them like 4 years as a military doctor, and then I can either choose to stay in or I can leave, but no debt, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. How did you even come across this opportunity?
So I went to UVM as an undergrad, and they would do these like, do you know what AHEC is? Are you familiar with AHEC? It's called Area Health Education Centers. It's in almost every state in the United States, and they promote like health education for rural primary care in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And they collab with the local recruiters here, the medical recruiters here, and they would do like suture clinics and like stop the bleed clinics. And as an undergrad who was like very gung-ho on med school, I would go to these things, and I would, they would do their spiel in the beginning, and I was like interested in it. I was like pretty interested in it since 2017. Kind of got away from it as like my life progressed, and then once I was accepted to med school, I was like, you know what? Like at the time I was single, and I was like, I got nothing tying me down. Like, don't really care where I get sent after medical school. Like, don't really have a ton of control over where I go for residency anyways. So like, might as well have my school paid for.
Mm-hmm. And then did you get a choice between what branch you were serving, or is it only the Army?
You could do it with the Navy. I think the Air Force also has it as an option, but I just always was like, I was always talking to the Army people, and I think I might be biased, but I think that's the best option. They have like the most resources, I think.
Mm-hmm. So are you like a badass with a gun? Can we go shooting?
We could. I don't have any of my guns up here, but I like grew up shooting with my dad. And we did shoot guns while we were there. I had actually, when I had like this, we did like a week-long field training, and I had to have my gun on me at all times, period. Mm-hmm. Like in the bathroom, I'm like out in like the wilderness, not the wilderness, I'm in this like desert of Texas in like a porta potty, like doing my business with my gun, like hanging in the bathroom.
Fully strapped, just ready for whatever is coming through that door.
Exactly. I got to learn how to take it apart, clean it. It was really cool. But yeah, like I look great in the uniform,
That's the important part.
Something that I miss is like all the pockets. Like, man, there are so many pockets. And like, I had this like thing that I put on over my uniform when I was out in the field, and it was called taps, but I just called it my technical cummerbund. And like, just because it looked like a cummerbund. And I had like my hand sanitizer. It's like all these pockets for your like clips for your bullets. But I just had like my hand sanitizer like right in front, and I was just like,
you never know when you're gonna need something like that. Exactly. I'm a huge fan of pockets too. My scrubs have a shit ton of pockets, just because it's like, I don't know, you have snacks in there sometimes. It's like you never know when you're gonna need it.
Yeah, pens, hair ties.
Pens, yeah, pens are really important apparently.
Fidgets.
Nobody knows how to write anymore. Justin probably doesn't ever write with a pen.
No, maybe when I travel, I kind of pretend sometimes to take notes in a notepad, but I usually just have my team do that for me.
Nice.
I'm honest.
Well, that's good. Justin and I didn't grow up shooting guns. I kind of wish we had a little bit more experience with it. I only have been shooting once, and Justin, you've probably only been once as well.
Yeah, once. But it was a good experience. Like, I felt, and, like, to understand the power behind a gun, it's not that I have any intention of owning it anytime soon, but it's sometimes I think something that, especially in the country, like some people just fall on one side or the other, right? Like you have to take a stance. And we're just not like knowledgeable enough about it. Like I don't know any friends who have firearms or go shooting, and I know that's just probably a nature of where I am in Long Island. You know, it's not like a thing to do. But pretty cool.
I don't really have like a particular stance on guns either. I'm not like, yes, I need a gun in my house. Actually, for a really long time, I was like, guns, like for some reason, I went through this phase where I was like really freaked out by guns. Like I didn't like being around them when I would go home to visit. I was like, my dad would ask if I would want to go shooting and I would be like really not into it. And then I kind of worked through it. Like, I don't know, it just was like a weird time. I was like, I don't want to be around them. But
yeah, I mean, you know, it's like regardless of what your stance is, like it's not a bad skill to know how to handle a gun. Just in case you were ever put in a situation, right? It's not something that you're like, oh, I'm going to fumble my way through this one. It's like, you should probably know what you're doing.
Yeah. I shot a raccoon once when I was a kid.
Pew pew.
Yeah, my mom was like having like a girls' night on the boat, and they get back and someone's eating her like this raccoon is eating her like rosemary ciabatta crackers, and she like runs inside. She's like, babe, get the gun. My dad was like in Vermont or something. I come out in my pajamas. I'm like with this like tiny like this little gun. I was little too at the time though, and because my dad would. This is actually very weird. Something that I grew up with that I didn't think was weird, but now looking back was very weird. Like we had guns by the entryway. My dad was super safe about guns. So weird, like just to have guns out because like he was really neurotic about safety. But we had Fisher cats like every night, like being loud. So my dad would like try to shoot them. So he had the gun out. So I just grabbed the gun and walked out. And this raccoon didn't have a care in the world. It was just like eating these crackers. I was like 6 feet away from it when I shot it.
Damn. Savage.
Just took its head off.
Yeah, point blank, boom.
That's honestly like that's something I've always thought about. Like I don't think I could ever go hunting because I could go fishing, but I don't think I can ever have the balls to like shoot a living animal, especially a mammal. I just don't think I could ever pull the trigger if you know, on purpose, right? Like it's different if, you know, it's a self-defense mechanism, but
defending the crackers. Wow, now I feel like a psychopath.
No, raccoon's coming at me wild. I'm not sure. Maybe
I was defending the crackers, okay?
With Trader Joe's, you know, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they have the best crackers. Wait, Justin, do you know what a Fisher cat is? Have you ever seen one of those?
I'm guessing it's some sort of stray cat. Is this like a...
No, it's like a muskrat looking thing. Tyler, can you pull up, or Dean, can you pull up a picture of a Fisher cat?
I am.
They're
like little they're like ferrets kind of.
Yeah,
they're ugly.
and their scream is so. It sounds like a baby being tortured. It's awful.
Yeah. They're wild.
Bro.
They're just naturally.
Yeah, they're wild.
Yeah,
dude, they're
very lethal. Like they could kill a toddler.
I feel like I've seen these on a few golf courses.
Oh Jesus, they're nocturnal. I think.
I know they live by water.
I look like a little bear. Yeah, that's what I'm like picturing.
Yeah,
wow.
They
Fishes have few predators besides humans.
That explains it.
This was the thing in Rhode Island. It was like we brought back the Fisher cat to get this other predator extinct, but then the Fisher cat then has no predators. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, that happens a lot in ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
Caroline, a question about the military contract, like how that's structured, because I know nothing about this, and I'm always curious about like literally our extensive military knowledge. A few friends have had literally our grandfather fighting World War II, so very outdated knowledge, and then TV shows and movies. So I don't know anything about this. So please tell me if I sound like an ass asking this. But
no,
you like going through this training, so giving up the 4 years of service after, is the expectation for you like to travel to places and to like, what does serving mean, I guess, as in your profession in that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. You just get stationed somewhere and I'll work as a doctor. It's like, okay. I'll be at, you know, I'll get stationed in like Texas or something and I'll just be there for 2 years. Usually your contracts are 2 years and then get restationed. You can I think the way it works, I don't know a ton about this, but the way I think it works is you rank your like top 3 locations and then they put you wherever they need you. And like, but my dream is to go to like be stationed in like Germany or something. Like that would be so cool. That's
and
like
when you say station, so you're serving U.S. Military, and you're like obviously in Texas. I don't think we have many wars going on there, but who knows?
Right.
Like, are you in a camp where people are training and you're being the medical professional on site to take care of injuries, or?
Yeah, it really depends. Like what I'll be attached to a unit of like soldiers, which it's actually, this is what I spent my whole like 6 weeks learning about, is like the structure of the medical company. And I'll try to keep it as like simple as possible because I could probably talk for 6 weeks about it and still not cover it all. But basically, like there's different levels of like care. So like level 1 is like right at the front lines, like right on like the we call it the flop, the frontal line of something or other. And like that's where there's like active, engagement, and then like there'll be like medics there. The doctors are typically like level 3 or level 4, like tiers back. So like BAMC in Texas is like one of the biggest hospitals for the Army. That is going to be a level 4 or level 5. Like that's super far removed from like any active war that's going on. And like in theory, they've invested a lot of money in me, so they don't really want to put me on the front lines if they don't have to.
Okay.
That's kind of, I think, their approach to it in like a resources standpoint. That being said, our military expenses are huge, and I don't think they would be super bummed if they lost $400,000 of investment on little old me. So in the grand scheme of things, but in theory, like there will be doctors who will push forward if need be, but most often I most likely will be like, if anything, like I'd be activated to like go to like do a vaccine, like a COVID situation, like do a vaccine injection site, or maybe, but mostly I'll just probably be at hospitals like treating patients who nobody needs an ophthalmologist at the front lines, you know what I mean? I was saying that to my friends over the summer. I was like, I'm going to be that sorry ophthalmologist that's like at this training being like, oh, I'll never have to do this. And then I'm there and I'm like, I don't know how to fix a broken arm. Like
people are just getting their like eyes blown out. You're like, yes, here's my time to shine.
I would kick ass if that was the case. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
We are coming up on almost an hour now. Before we depart, I did want to ask you something. Do you feel you've learned any valuable skills with your time in the military that can apply to medical school?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Wait, simmer with that for 1 second. So when we were talking about Fisher cats, I've been seeing these things on Instagram pop up, binturongs. Have you guys ever seen these things? Bro, they're pretty cute and they're like really calm and docile and they're big as fuck. I would urge you guys to watch some videos with them. They're in like wildlife sanctuaries.
Binturong.
Yeah, I had never heard of it before until like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Whoa, that's a weird looking animal." It's kind of like a small panda or something, small bear.
They're very cute.
Never mind. So can you answer that question for me, please?
Yeah. I wish that I could say that I have integrated like the structure that the military really does demand of you when you're in training. Like, when I was in training, I would wake up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, like go out, do my PT, shower, hygiene, get ready, go to class all day, and then like work out again in the evening and then go to bed. But that's just not like conducive to my real life, So I've been trying to be a 5 a.m. girly. It's so hard though. But yeah,
especially in the winter.
I would say though, like the connections I've made from that, and I know it's not really the question you're asking, but like the connections that I made from Army camp were really fantastic, and like just communicating with some fantastic individuals has been lovely.
Yeah. You see you keeping a good relationship with them for the years to come?
Yeah, my roommates that I was with from Oklahoma, like day one, were in touch like almost every day. They're so
That's
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are they mostly med school students?
One vet, so she just passed her boards, and then I have a DO friend who's in Honolulu for residency for internal medicine right now. So yeah, you could through the army could be in Honolulu for your residency. You know, worst places to do residency, right?
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Justin, do you have any last minute questions we can ask Caroline?
No, I think one, thank you for your service. I know. I knew you were gonna do that, right?
Right, it sounded so contrived right there.
No. I worked. One of my first jobs out of school was in general contracting, like construction. I got to work in the Army Corps of Engineers in New York, and got to meet some really cool people that were, to your point, like serving the Army in not what I thought the traditional way, right? Like in their case, they were engineers by trade and designing buildings with us and etc. And it kind of opened up my eyes to how much the military means to the country as an employer, and how much it means to like facilitating education, and that's so not what like my frame of reference was. And just a quick story, because my father called me out on this. Because of that, I had like special security clearance because we were on the Army Corps. So I had some sort of like veterans card, in a way, like a pseudo veterans card, and it got me like discounts. My dad wanted me to use it to get early on a plane, and I'm like, all right. So that's the extent I took it. And then we were at the World War II Museum in New Orleans, and they ask, are any veterans here? And he taps me on the shoulder, and I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not standing up and getting a round of applause. Like, what a dick move. So
thank you, everybody.
I'll take the 20% off discounts, but I won't take the applause. But it's pretty cool. I mean, again, it's amazing to me, because we're just not privy to any of this like that. And I know it is more popular in like rural areas too, as the military as like a choice, or, for us, it wasn't. I don't know how. I probably count on one hand how many people I know who went that route in some way. And there's a lot of people here, right? So it's pretty cool, really cool learning about that story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't really know anyone in the military. This was like, to all my friends and family, this was totally out of left field. So they saw pictures from me over the summer. They're like, "You with a gun, huh?" And I'm
like, they were just like, "Oh, I thought she was just bullshitting us this whole time."
Buy raccoons everywhere.
Yeah, bringing it back to the roots.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Caroline. We got to do a part 2 at some point. You've been a great guest. The conversation flowed really nicely, and yeah, it was just a pleasure speaking with you and hearing your story.
Stop! You're making me blush now. I'm gonna have to send you a referral.
Oh my god, stop.
Thank you guys for having me. I'll see you next time. I'll see you this weekend. We'll go skiing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely go skiing, or at least get some beers.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Peace out.